It's me, Tara again. I just wanted to make a little video about some of the things that I've noticed about the ways that the people that are involved in these kinds of things are different from the average person. I think it's really important to talk about that because I think that when you have an experience like this, such as being targeted by a group of people, it really makes you question your sanity. You really start to question the world and to question the people in it. And I think that it's important to take note of the fact that, this is a group of people. They definitely by no means represent everyone in the world. And I do think that we're living in a very different world from the way that we think that we're living and operating. But I think that it's important to, as I said, take note of the fact that it's not everyone who is this way. Thinking about the song by Kendrick Lamar, They Not Like Us. He obviously has had some experiences in the music industry. So I was saying that these people are everywhere. I wanted to talk about a few of the things that I've noticed and just to address what your experience might be when you're being gang-stalked and targeted this way. One thing I just wanted to say is that one of the hardest things to come to terms with is the complete lack of empathy that you will experience when you encounter these people. And I think that for me personally, on a personal note, that was a breaking point at every single level. Because I think at some point, when you're a kind person or a good person, you always expect there to be a point of commonality between yourself and whomever it is that you're interacting with. So you expect to experience some level of humanity at some point in all of your interactions. And if you're being targeted like I've been, and you're encountering the same kinds of people that I've been encountering and am currently encountering, you will not find that compassion. And I think the reason for that is, my observation is that the majority of the people that are, I did talk in my other video about who are the people that are doing these kinds of things, but I think that the most important piece of that is, for the majority of them, I think that they don't see us as people. They see us as the equivalent of cattle. So I don't think that, I think where you would expect compassion from a person, because you have that commonality of humanity, I think that those people don't see you as an equal. I did mention, I think in my first video, how some of the comments that have been made about me is that I'm a person of no birth. So how it is orchestrated amongst families and societies, and as I mentioned, the military, they're all kind of intermingled with that. But they don't view you as an autonomous individual that is worthy of the same rights and respect that they are. And if anything, as I said, you will find the opposite is true. So of course, I've encountered many different levels and layers of these people in my experience. And of course, there are some people that I would kind of think of as at the ground level who are perhaps just recruited through, being homeless or being drug addicted, taken in as, from what I've been told with some of the people, as drug informants in the cases where maybe corrupt police officers are involved. I don't understand the police involvement personally, if it's widespread or if it's just a point of corruption with some people. I don't know, and I'm not making those accusations. I'm just saying in the case that I specifically was made aware of several people that had been involved in gang stalking and harassing me, that I did later find out that they were also police informants. So, yes, back to what I was saying, that you're not really viewed as being an individual, an autonomous individual that is worthy or deserving of rights. And so on the base levels I mentioned, these people, I would say, could just be, normal people that their starting point is crime or drugs, and they kind of get involved with these kinds of groups and whatnot due to their criminal activity. That's possible. I can't say that I haven't experienced absolutely no humanity from anyone who's taken part in these things. I did mention in one of my other videos that there was an individual that I could see slowly being indoctrinated into this plan for me, for attacking me and for following me around. And that at first, as I did say before, I did notice that he had objections and he was really struggling with being aware of what was being done to me. And then at some point it just seemed as though the light went out and he was no longer concerned, at all, for whatever reason. It is a brainwashing campaign, and of course, there are smear campaigns and lies that are put out about you, so who knows what he believed in the end. But I would say there's the level of that where there's just regular people that you might have that commonality with, but there are patterns amongst some of the people that I've noticed that would, to me, suggest Satanism, like just a very predatory vibe, where they, I was followed around often and people would be taking pictures of me or pictures of themselves near me, and I couldn't figure out for the longest time what the purpose of this was. And at some point I realized if it was I had been extensively attacked, I think the purpose is actually to somehow seal the moment, to seal your energy or their attack on you with the camera. So if you have people nearby you that are doing the same, that are trying to take your picture, that are taking pictures of themselves, following you around, and you're feeling attacked, and then this is going on, that's what's happening, is my observation. I've also noticed that there really is I used to think of it as just a mob mentality with these people, where there's not really any personal culpability. It's almost like they get into a feeding frenzy and will inflict every damage and horror upon you that they can. And I mean, the purpose is terror. And of course, if you look in certain communities where this is discussed more at length, and again, I do plan to at some point talk about the esoteric component of all of this, that the idea of being loosed for your energy, for your negative energy in particular, for your fear and for your anger, would be a factor in that, and a specific reason why they do it. That they're specifically, and that's my experience as well, looking to farm your energy, to harvest you in that way through your negative energy, your negative responses. It also creates a form of entanglement, so that they do these horrific things to you, and then you react, even if it's only emotionally, and then you entangle yourself in their energy, which is what they want. As I mentioned in, I think, my first video. Oh, pardon me. It's just the phone. Let me pause for a moment. Sorry about that. So yes, the energy harvesting is definitely a part of it. You can speculate into whether or not they're human beings or some advanced type of AI or demonic reptilians. There are all kinds of theories out about that. I would say that the people involved, some of the people, do emanate a certain quality, in my opinion, that is very inhuman, that they appear to have a different skill set than the average human, like in terms of telepathy or things like that. They definitely have access to, a wide variety of them have access to the technology that's used to oppress you and attack you. It's not just one person who's sitting around and pushing a button. They all seem to have access to whatever it is that they're using and whatever it is that they're doing, for whatever reason. So my perspective about that is that, we're definitely not living in the world that we think that we're living in. that there are reasons that, like if you look overarchingly at our society, all the practices which are in place to disempower you and to separate you, not just from yourself and your self-belief, but also from the rest of humanity, we're very disorganized. And I don't think that that's an accident. So comparatively, when you look at these people, the converse is true, that they are very organized with their actions. So an example of that would be like what's been done to me has, to my knowledge, taken place over a 10-year cycle, beginning with being given like various illnesses through technological weaponry, with the theme being invaded, in preparation for the things which soon came after, like the gang stalking, the harassment, all of those things. That's the number one theme, is invasion, harassment. I think that that's almost the entire purpose of the program, is that to set you up to be literally invaded, whether that's by people or by AI or by alien subspecies or hybrids, or however you think about it. I think that the end reason for that is the same, but a really important piece of that, as I just mentioned, is the fact that they are so organized in this. So what's taking place now for me was orchestrated over at least a 10-year period. I would speculate that more was done prior to that to really prime me to this experience, because so much of it is psychological and reliant upon how you see other people, your relationship to other people, how you see your own autonomy, and how you see yourself. So there were so many things that were done to wear down, and even on an esoteric level, on a metaphysical level. I remember I went to a body talk specialist at one point, and this is when I was just in my illness phase, before I had actually met anybody or had any interactions with any of these people, to my knowledge. I know that they, like in retrospect, they were coming around me, and I do recognize them for who they were now, knowing what I know. But at the time, I didn't really understand how exactly they were different or what their intentions were. But I remember going to a body talk specialist at that point, and she seemed very disturbed and told me that she found hundreds of quarter-sized and shaped holes in my aura, like someone was just throwing energetic bombs into me to destroy my aura and to break down my personal protections. So this was going on for a very long period of time. As I said, she was really disturbed that this was taking place. But it just goes to show that, I didn't have an understanding in the situation of what that would be the precursor to, but looking back now, I realized that was another thing that was done to me. So not just on a mental, physical, psychological level, but also metaphysical, spiritual. It was happening the entire time. I was just unaware of it. So to me, they have the psychologists that take part in these programs to cater everything to you and to your psyche. But then they also have specialists in literally every other area of your life. They have, I would guess, witches or metaphysical personnel to break your aura down, to break your energy down, to make you more accessible to them. They have criminals to break into your vehicle, locksmiths, or to break into your home. So they have experts in every field, which I think is like an important thing to recognize as well. They have IT specialists, and I didn't really branch into this much when I was talking about the kinds of people that are doing this, but I was thinking about this after, and I thought that this is also a really important thing to notice. This is so extremely organized that it's not just for one purpose. The purpose isn't just torture, it isn't just experimentation, but it's far more layered than that. And the desire, the ultimate desire, as I keep saying over and over again, is to invade you. But that, as I said, it's not just that. If you look at it, how many people are involved and exactly how organized they are and how many different professions are contributing, it becomes abundantly clear that it is a secret. It's another society that's doing this, that they have this many people, that it's this layered, this organized, every aspect of your life, everything you look at, everyone you talk to. So that I feel is a very important piece, is looking at how organized it is and how many different roles, how many different professional people must be involved in this process, and what that actually suggests about who's behind it. It's not just a small group of people doing it, it's a very widespread, I can't even say organization, as I said, I feel it's more a society or societies that do it. That the intent is to keep people, the rest of us, disorganized and complacent, focused on ourselves and our lives and our jobs and little small things, and keep us from realizing that this is what's going on behind the scenes. These are the people that run the show, and we are little more than cattle. So I just wanted to make that point, just because I've thought about that so extensively. And also, as I said, I do experience the voice to skull often. Just 24 hours a day, I have these voices that follow me around, and I used to think about it as being voice to skull. Now I'm not so sure that's what it is, because it's so prevalent no matter where I go. I think it's deeper than that. I kind of question, I just recently heard that CERN has shut down now until 2030. Seems like perhaps the work is done. It makes me wonder if the ringing that I receive in the ear has something to do with the reality that I'm experiencing, where these people seem ever present. They seem like they're always around, not just their voices, but there's a physical component in it, no matter where I go. Seems very invasive, not just physically, mentally, but also, in the actual space around me. So I've wondered if it has something to do with that. There is a component of interdimensional. I have a suspicion of interdimensional access as well from other beings. But I'd like to dedicate a video specifically to that, because I really have a lot to say in that based on the experiences that I've had now up until this point. I think a lot can be said, and I don't want to lead into more speculation, which the majority of what I have to say about that would only be purely my speculation. As I've said many times, I do think that the fact that you're enlisted in a psychological torture program can be very confusing, and it can probably make you believe that you see things that aren't there and things that don't exist. That's what it's designed to do, is make you question yourself and your sanity. So that was a side note for that. I do think, a big part of it as well is, the rest of what you're going to experience and how these people are different from you will come from, as I said, the level of compassion, and it will just be abundantly clear that they don't see you as a person deserving of respect or autonomy or empathy. I have thought about this so much from my own perspective, where when this first happened to me, when I first noticed it, I had no contact with any of these people. They tried to really make me feel responsible for everything that took place, for their attacks towards me. But, in the beginning phase of this, I didn't know anyone. I hadn't had any interactions with anyone. My life was literally selected to have this done to me. At that time, I'd had, a 1-year-old baby, my daughter, who I'm now, I'm not estranged from her, but I'm not with her. I'm staying with my mom right now. I was forced to leave my house. So this has affected her, my daughter, who's 14 now, who, this is going to be with her for her entire life. I will probably die from this experience. So she will be scarred. And the comments that I hear, as I said, it might be voice to skull, it might be something else. So much of it is just like laughter, like it's a big joke, or I'm sitting and meditating and they're coming in and attacking me with their technology, and I'm doing the things that I would ordinarily do to try to just push it away, and I hear joking about it being this big battle, and it's like, no, I've abdicated my life, like I'm not living in my home. I am at the end of the world. I have lost my entire life. I'm not with my daughter. I have no job. I'm staying with my parents. I'm at the end of my life. And they view it as a game. Like it's this entertaining battle that they're taking part in. They have no concern about what they've taken from me. And what the impact will be to anyone in my life. So that is, a big part of the difference as well. I think with most people, even bad people, at some point you would have some kind of empathy or understanding, unless the person is a complete psychopath. But I mean, this is many, many, many people who have done this and taken part in this, that they have no concern, When I was leaving my home, when it was getting up to that point, it was so bad, I could barely be in the house because of what was going on. Just constant attacks all the time. I thought I was under demonic attack because of everything that was going on, and perhaps I was. But it's obviously these people as well, But underneath it all, as I said, I think that the main thing is the reason for the separation between us and the lack of empathy is we are literally living in two completely different societies. So they don't view you as an autonomous individual, deserving of anything, any rights, any freedoms, nothing. Everything that is around us is designed to make you kind of useless, really. They have distinct castes and societies and people that they have assigned important roles to. One of the people that was torturing me was a woman. I go back and forth about whether it's an actual woman or, this would be one case with this individual where I do question if she's some sort of extraterrestrial being, but she says, I am much higher than you, because I made the mistake of sometimes I say things to them. I should just completely ignore them. We should all just ignore them. But I make the mistake out of frustration. And she said, I am much higher than you. I believe she is. I'm sure she is. It doesn't excuse her behavior in my opinion. Obviously, in her opinion, it matters. It's like that really matters, that you should not, that we are people of no birth, of no caste, that we should not have basic rights or freedoms, or we're not entitled to anything that we have, And now, as I've mentioned in my videos, where this whole concept of like merging me, and the attempt is real. I have to say at this point, that's what is being attempted. To what I don't know, to some AI system, it's my speculation, but it's definitely has the involvement from these societies, from the military. They're definitely involved with this. But just the complete lack of concern for my autonomy, my life, my daughter, my family, just nothing. Nothing. Since day one, just nothing. So that's my point. I just wanted to draw attention to the reasons why I think it's different and why they feel different. They are different. They see themselves as separate from us. We're not, we're not the same as them in their eyes. And perhaps biologically we're not as well. As I said, I have noticed some differences. And a lot of this is designed to, catch you. I think I might have mentioned in one of my videos that one of the people that spoke to me through the voice to skulls said specifically, we caught you, So that's what they're trying to do. They can torture you for years and abuse you and ruin your life, follow you around and harass you, attack you with weaponry or magic, whatever it is that these people are using. But if you respond to them, they view it as you're challenging them. They should be able to do whatever they want to you. They should be able to torture you and attack you and stalk you and break into your home and hurt you and fuck up your life. But if you respond, it's because you've betrayed yourself and they've caught you. So I would caution to be very careful. Don't respond, even if you're capable, if you have spiritual strengths as I do, that is certainly what made me a target. Certainly. They want to get you. The whole thing is designed for them to be able to get you so they can get into you. If you are being targeted for this reason. So anyway, I wanted to share that. And I'm so sorry if anybody else is experiencing this. Again, I'm just sharing this has certainly not improved my life. It has made things a lot harder, but I do think that it's really important for us to share our stories, because what they're doing is very organized, very specific, very calculated. What we're doing is not, so maybe we should be organizing ourselves so that we can understand what exactly it is we're dealing with collectively, what the intent is, and what you can do on a personal level. That's all we can do. So anyway, if I disappear suddenly, it's not by choice. I'm just gonna add that caveat. I'll keep bringing any information that I can, whatever comes to mind, making videos as long as I can. And, love on all of you, and good luck. Stay safe.